Hey guys, what's going on? And welcome back to the channel, and welcome to the first episode of a brand new series.
In this little What If series, we're looking to explore the possibilities of different characters or people being real, or different events having or not having happened.
For today's podcast, we're going to be looking into SLENDERMAN, and what would happen if he happened to be real.
So for any of you guys out there who don't happen to know who SLENDERMAN is, he's a fictional character, basically, that was come up with in 2009 by a guy called, and I'm hoping I say this right, Eric Knudsen. Put it on the screen now. This is what it is, but I think it's Knudsen. And basically, he's depicted as a thin, really tall, sort of humanoid, no facial features, anything like that, featureless head. And he's wearing a black suit, black tie, and then a white shirt underneath.
It's definitely an interesting character, I think, considering he was sort of built from nothing, and now he's quite famous, really.
Yeah, well, he came from, I think was it Reddit? It was a Reddit post, I think, basically. He was come from a competition for all the people on there to basically post as supernatural characters that they've created, they've come up with onto different pictures, and obviously someone found that one, and then it's just become viral ever since.
I mean, he definitely seems a bit paranormal as such. I mean, he's 8 feet tall, which, believe it or not, is taller than you.
Just about, yeah.
Yeah, he's an inch taller. I mean, he has tentacles for arms. He stalks and eats small children. Descriptions are pretty gruesome. And he communicates telepathically with his human servants. So, yeah.
You can see it in, I don't think you've possibly watched it, but the SLENDERMAN film that came out a few years ago.
Yeah.
2017 off the top of my head. It was a rubbish film for it. It was an awful film. But you can see in that basically they watch a video, and that's how he gets into their head. That's how he first becomes a thing, and then he stalks and preys on them from there. One by one, sort of picks them off, and then the very, very ending of the film, she walks into the forest, and he basically wraps around her into a tree.
Wow.
That's the end of it.
I mean, that's about as psychological as it gets, really. I mean, the question is, what if he was real?
So I think there's a few things you'd need to look at straight off the bat for if he was real. First of all, is there just one SLENDERMAN across the entire planet? Is there just one?
Well, I know this might be a bit nitpicky, but he is called SLENDERMAN, not SLENDERMEN.
It's true. It is. No, it is true. It is true. So from that, you'd say there's just one. So on a global scale, is he going to be that devastating? I
mean, if all it takes is to, well, to get into someone's head is to see him on a screen, I think he could be pretty pretty viral. I just don't see how, well, today's standards, he just wouldn't, possess sort of everyone.
Yeah, I think with today's obviously technology and that sort of thing, how easy we can spread from one to another, I suppose he could be on that global scale. Is he able, do you think, to, or would he be able to be in multiple places at once? Because I reckon, considering how he is, who he is, that sort of thing, I think he could be in many places at once.
Yeah. So I think that's his sort of style, his sort of character, is that he sort of jump scares you in the fact that he'll just be behind you when you least expect it, or he'll just appear in front of you. So I think that's just one of his traits. He is everywhere,
He also he's always there.
Yeah.
You see in the photos that were created, he doesn't exactly hide.
No.
So I think if it was to be an actual scenario, sometimes I feel like it'd be very difficult to miss him.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
you could almost sort of, any photo you take,
Yeah.
you'd be able to see him in the background. And would that help you or hinder you in the fact you'd be always looking over your shoulder for him?
I think at that point it would go past paranoia, and for me at least, I would probably just end it all. Like, I'd be off it myself because I just wouldn't know where he was or anything. Like, he's there, but where?
If the actual creation of him was real, there was sort of photographs supposedly dated back to the likes of 1983 and that sort of thing. So to think he's been there for potentially like 40 years coming up, that sort of thing, that is daunting in itself.
Yeah, for sure.
And could he have gone and dated back even further?
Yeah.
And when we couldn't record it, for example.
Well, I mean, it's wild to think about that. Like, if something, if the Slenderman in his current description existed, it's just how would that shape the world? Like, would the whole world like talk about him, and would the whole world all be in paranoia? Would the people who haven't seen him on their screens, would they care because they haven't got that fear?
It would also almost be like a virus.
Yeah.
Once one person's got it, you can pass it on so easily to the next.
Yeah.
And then, like we say, it could go on to that the massive scale. But then, if he was targeting several people in one area, could he get all of them at once? Would he have to appear multiple times in one place? Like, you see what I'm saying? It's just, how would he capture all that at once? Or would he, like he does in the films, have to pick them off one by one?
I suppose that is the what if, it's just, I don't know. I think as a personal opinion of it, I think it'd be more terrifying and pretty cool if he could pick off multiple people. Not saying it'd be cool if it happened to me.
No.
But as a thought and as a theory, something we can speculate. I think it'd be interesting if he could pick off multiple people, because it's just it could happen to you at any time. He doesn't have to specifically target you.
I also don't feel like he'd be beatable on a physical scale. I don't think we could sort of shoot him or beat him or anything like that by physical means. I think the only way to do it, very much like the Bye-Bye Man, which perhaps we could go on to in another one, but a Bye-Bye Man, basically, if you say the name, pass it on, then people will start seeing him, and he can only be seen and come after you once you've said the name, once you've seen a picture.
You might be surprised at this, but I've actually seen the Bye-Bye Man.
You have seen the Bye-Bye Man? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think in that similar sense, it would be sort of like that.
Yeah.
But in today's world, it would not be easy to remove that.
No.
That aspect.
I mean, as you said, you couldn't defeat him on a physical level. I think sort of his character is, if he can sort of bend through time, if you will, sort of shift. Obviously he can be anywhere at once, sort of thing. I mean, I think he can just dodge a bullet if he wants to, or he can, I'm not sure though if he'd actually fight back. I think he would just either leave the area or just appear, behind you, sort of 10 feet away, sort of thing, when you go to hit him.
I think he would possibly hide. I think he'd hide somewhere which then suits him.
Yeah.
You'd come into his terrain, and then he'd find it easier to pick you off in like woods or that sort of thing.
True.
When you're in there and you're more vulnerable, especially when he does a lot of his stuff at night.
Yeah.
Again, because it just fits in with him.
Yeah.
It's more eerie. It's a bit darker, so he can probably still see absolutely fine. Whereas obviously in a human eye, it's more difficult.
Yeah. I don't really know if or how it would affect you sort of mentally. Like, would you constantly be on the edge? Would you like say if you haven't seen or heard him before, that's pretty interesting to me. I don't know if it'd still play a part in your mind.
I suppose if you had no sort of backstory before, you
Yeah.
On the basis that it's not a regular thing that these creepypastas are real, you probably would be surprised, especially maybe not outside of maybe the main places of Europe, America, and that sort of thing, for smaller countries that perhaps haven't experienced anything, like the memes or like the actual pictures of it before. If you come across that, and then you saw the picture and you saw him, then I think that would play on your mind even more, because it'd be a new thing to you.
Yeah, that's true. If you're not if you haven't been exposed to sort of paranormal creatures and things like that before, it's more of a psychological thing than seeing him in real life.
I think something scary really is, and you mentioned it to me just before we started, is that two 12-year-old girls in, and I'm going to say this wrong as well, Waukesha, Wisconsin, they held down and stabbed another classmate.
If you don't come play with us, then we will kill you.
And when they were questioned, they said that they'd done it to basically appease this tall figure known as SLENDERMAN.
That's mental.
It's scary that obviously that's in a child's mind.
Yeah. It's just crazy as, like, the things that are made up, like literally made up, fictional, those things are basically infecting young brains into thinking a certain way and doing such harmful acts.
Because they've obviously, probably in the world that we're in today, is they've just seen it and it's caused something horrific to happen. But if it were to be real, how easily, there's a lot of instances within the stories behind him, he controls young adults to do things for him, and obviously then himself takes young children.
Yeah.
So we'd have all of these people, and I mean, it'd probably be more the younger generation than the older ones, just from what we see in his character, but I think he'd pinpoint that sort of age, and that's terrifying.
I mean, everyone who's growing up would be basically under his control. The whole world would sort of like just there wouldn't be any individuality anymore. Like there would be no hiding, there'd be no safe space, if you will. There'd literally just be him in your thoughts talking to you telepathically. Hey.
Within the games of SLENDERMAN, I'm sure you possibly played at least one or so, what happens when you get all 8 pages?
Honestly, mate, I don't know.
I'll have a quick research of that.
Yeah, because I don't know if the games, like sort of the pages you have to collect, I don't know if that was based off his original design or they just made it up for the game. But I imagine it sort of gives you information on him, on how maybe to defeat him as a game. That'd be my sort of thinking.
Yeah, so just all it's saying to me at the moment is obviously if you fail to get the 8 pages, you die, you get killed by the SLENDERMAN. It's not telling me anything else really other than that. Oh, and my page is going all SLENDERMAN-y, that's brilliant.
Oh.
It was going all crackly and everything.
Thank you,
was
Internet.
Lovely.
Very cool. I mean, it's no longer what if he's real. He is real.
Yeah, I've been entranced.
You've been slendered.
Yeah, it's not giving me an awful lot.
Yeah.
I would imagine that it would be something. I'd like to think that perhaps if he was real, I mean, it's turning it very video gamey, but if it is real and it's true to the story, there would technically be 8 pages.
Yeah.
That you could find them around the world. Technically, he could destroy them as well.
Yeah.
So you'd be possibly in a race for that.
But so obviously there's a hypothetical situation. But would he know where they are, and would we know where these pages are? And would it just be completely random, and it is just everyone in the world can search for them, and he has to search for them all over the world?
I think where he dates back from, wherever that may be,
Yeah.
in this hypothetical world, people will have hidden it. Like you hear all the stories about people hiding different this, that, and the other along all the years, all the generations. And I think we'd have to kind of search back and date back. He'd probably find them before us, just because he might have gone through it all. I don't know, but I think it would be that sort of thing where we'd have to look back and try and find where they were actually hidden. My
sort of thinking is, so important dates from his, I won't say life because I don't know if he's alive, but sort of his creation. So important dates, maybe someone where he killed someone who actually was important, or just anything which was sort of significant throughout his creation. Like maybe pages fell out of his pocket, sort of idea. And then they're around that area, so you'd have to research him, you'd have to look at his history and find out where certain things happened, and sort of gauge where a page might be from that idea.
Okay, so there's a couple of different little paragraphs here that's giving me sort of two different outcomes. So it's either saying the pages were literally nothing, it's just to keep the player moving, and it's got meaningless words on it, that sort of thing.
All right.
Which is quite a scary concept.
Yeah.
And the other one, I think, is essentially just telling me that the pages have some sort of portal creating powers. So once you collect them all, it's a sort of way of escaping him.
But once you escape, can he just reinfect you?
Potentially. I don't think there'd be a way of escaping. That's the hard thing. I think in an actual scenario, I don't know whether you'd just become immune to him once you'd find these pages. But would it just help one person, or would it help the entire planet?
That's what I'm thinking. Like, would everyone in the world have to hold all 8 pages, or? It's an interesting concept to think. If he was real, this would be a much different planet, I think.
Yeah, I'm quite glad we chose this one as the first one to kind of discuss, because it's although there's not an awful lot of story behind him in terms of, like any real sightings potentially, other than that might have been stabbing. Yeah, that's it's quite interesting to see. I think there's a lot could be debated with him.
He's just an interesting character, like, because this, like, for a what if series, like, there's a lot of unknown.
I think if he was to be real, we'd as a planet really, really struggle to contain that I suppose virus of SLENDERMAN and knowing of him.
Definitely. So, do you want to put a conclusion on this first episode of this new series?
Yeah, I think that will be my conclusion.
Yeah.
That if he were to be real, depending on how long he would be alive for, he'd either look at taking over the planet, and we'd all be screwed.
Yeah.
Or he would potentially just stick to a certain area, like he did in the SLENDERMAN film that came out the last few years. He was just in one area, but we never got to see further, so he could have been elsewhere. But if he just sticks to certain areas, certain country, for example, like if he was in America, would he actually end up moving over to Europe or other countries like that? I think he'd just be stuck in America. I think he'd be he could move like state to state, but I don't think he would go much further than that.
Before I give my conclusion, I'm gonna ask a what if for you. What happens if everyone on Earth got infected by him and he controlled everyone? where does he go from then? What happens then? You know?
I don't know whether he suffers from not having that power.
Yeah.
There's nothing that I've read anyway that says, he does it because he needs it to stay alive.
Yeah.
Or to flourish or anything. I don't think anything happens.
Yeah.
From
He's
this.
it's just screwed. Like,
if he took, if everyone got infected, I think he'd just keep going, keep killing until someone stopped it, perhaps. Or if it didn't, then I think he'd just end up potentially killing everyone.
Yeah. My my conclusion from this investigation is I think it's going to be, if SLENDERMAN was real, I think Earth would, or the population of Earth would be wiped out, I think fairly quickly, because I think he would sort of infect everyone with his being, and everyone would be very paranoid to begin with, and then they would be, susceptible. They'd come across him, they'd be infected, it'd spread because of his sort of power and his, it's easy access for him, I think, to get to people, and I don't think there'd be any real way of stopping him.
There's our conclusions, guys. If you have any conclusions, drop them in the comments section down below. Whilst you're down there, make sure you like. I've seen there's quite a few people watching the videos that aren't actually subscribed, so make sure you subscribe down there as well. Make sure you put the notification bell on so you keep up, with our regular Thursday 7 PM content.
You know it.
And if there's any what ifs that you want us to have a look in on, it's been about a 20 minute podcast this, so if you want us to debate that, anything in particular, let us know as well.
Peace.
Peace.